Welcome back to Reddit Echoes, where real-life stories from Reddit are told with honesty, depth, and sometimes hard-to-believe moments. In life, friendship and love are incredibly precious, but they can also be the source of the deepest wounds when trust is betrayed. Today I will share with you the story of a girl who thought she had the strongest friendship, a best friend she trusted completely. But betrayal and deceit unexpectedly appeared, leaving wounds that are not easy to heal. This is not just a story about pain or loss, but about inner strength, calmness, and the clever revenge of a woman who was betrayed. Let's explore this painful journey together and see how she rose up after the biggest shock of her life. If you enjoy real, heartfelt stories with emotional depth, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you won't miss the upcoming exciting videos. Story 1. The terrifying suspicion. Surrounding my father and his girlfriend's death, an unsolved mystery. Hello, everyone. I want to share a story I've kept in my heart for many years, a heartbreaking and tangled tale involving the death of my father and his girlfriend, an event that changed my life forever. My father, Shane, was a good man whom I deeply respected. He had endured many hardships, from life's injuries to complicated relationships, yet he always tried to live optimistically and love his family. He had a close friend from school named Billy, a somewhat strange but friendly guy, though quirky and with many odd traits I could never fully understand. Everything began in 2015, when my father and his girlfriend Sherry, a woman I thought he loved dearly, suddenly died in an incident ruled by police as a murder-suicide. Sherry and my father were found dead at Sherry's house, each with a bullet in the head. The story told was that my father shot Sherry, then took his own life out of remorse. I could not believe it. What confused me most were the strange details around their deaths. Why did my father have Sherry's gun in his hand when he owned several guns himself? Why was Sherry's house a new place he didn't know? Why didn't he answer Sherry's call before the event when he clearly knew she was calling? I couldn't accept that conclusion. Though police said the case was clear, I felt something was very wrong. When I went to collect my father's belongings, the house seemed like he left in a rush, planning to return. Coffee was still on the table, the door wasn't locked, and the house cat wasn't fed. No normal person would leave everything behind and never come back. Later, I found strange messages on my father's phone messages that didn't seem to be from him, written with perfect grammar and a very different tone. Especially my father's friend Billy showed suspicious signs. Over the years, I learned that Billy was not trustworthy. Several of his ex-girlfriends died under mysterious circumstances. One fell down the stairs, another was abandoned while severely ill, and even his ex-wife's mother died under unclear conditions. Billy also took photos of my father and Sherry's bodies and showed them to his daughter, an inexplicable and disturbing act. He often retold the story of discovering the bodies with inconsistent details, as if putting on a show to cover the truth. I tried to contact the police, the FBI, even lawyers, but no one would help. I felt helpless. However, not long ago, I met Billy's ex-wife, Linda. She shared horrifying secrets about Billy, including abuse and other bizarre behaviors. Linda also revealed that she once loved my father, a hidden affection I never knew about. She even said Billy slept with her and later with her mother, a tangled mess that shocked me. Linda and I worked together, reaching out to investigative journalists and gathering documents. Despite serious evidence, the police refused to reopen the case, saying the evidence was insufficient. Recently, I met the lead detective, a straightforward man, who understood my concerns but still insisted the case was properly closed. I have seen the crime scene photos, the image of my father lying in a pool of blood with a gun in his hand, a haunting sight I cannot forget. I don't know where this story will lead, but one thing I do know, I must uncover the truth, not just for my father, but for the peace of my family. This is my story, a search for truth amid shadows of suspicion, grief, and betrayal. Story 2. Losing a loved one to betrayal, the breakup. After 4 years together. Hello everyone, I'm a 26-year-old guy, and this is the story of a painful and disappointing relationship with my girlfriend, someone I once thought would be with me for life. We were together for 4 years, engaged for 1 year, eagerly preparing for our wedding. Everything seemed perfect until she got a new job in another city and we had to move there to start a new life. I wasn't excited about this. I had to quit my old job, leave family, friends, and everything familiar behind. I was irritable and sometimes acted poorly, but I thought everything would be okay. However, things began to crack when she frequently mentioned a new colleague, a young guy who seemed overly confident, artistic, and very charming. Jealousy gradually crept in. I tried not to let it affect our love, but day by day, that guy appeared more in her life. Small fights started because of jealousy and lack of trust. The breaking point came on a Tuesday night. She came home very late. She sat down and told me we were breaking up. The reason she felt a deep connection with that new colleague, one she had never felt with me. I couldn't believe it. Just months earlier, she was in my arms saying she finally felt at peace. Now she was leaving me for someone else. That night I couldn't sleep, feeling like being punched repeatedly in the stomach. I thought about what happened, the good memories and my mistakes. The next day, she announced she'd invite that colleague over for Valentine's Day and wanted the apartment to be just theirs. I had no money for a hotel because I had just moved paid deposits for the wedding and didn't have a new job yet. When I objected, she coldly said she no longer wanted to deal with my problems and would do things her way. I didn't know what to do. I felt betrayed in my own home. People advised me to stand up for myself, and I did. I told her I wouldn't leave, even though watching the person I loved date someone else in my own home was incredibly painful. She didn't hesitate to throw sarcastic remarks, threats, and use everything she could to hurt me more. Then a year passed since the breakup. I went through many changes trying to recover and become stronger. I started therapy, learned to accept and forgive, not for her, but for myself. This Valentine's Day, instead of sorrow, I saw it as a celebration of my rebirth. I also heard she married that colleague, but her family isn't very fond of him. I no longer care because now I know my worth and understand that love must be based on respect and honesty. I want to thank the Reddit community for the messages of encouragement, advice, and even offers of help. Every word gave me strength to move forward. Story 3. The Emotional Storm. When I found out my girlfriend was pregnant, but not by me. I'm a 28-year-old guy, and this is the story of some terrifying days I never want to remember yet can't forget. We'd been together for 3 years, living in a small apartment in the city. At first, everything was wonderful. We had beautiful memories, and I thought we'd be together for life. However, recently, she started acting strangely frequently, avoiding me, constantly receiving calls on her phone, and sometimes being very evasive when I asked questions. One day, she admitted she was pregnant, but the baby wasn't mine. I was so shocked I couldn't speak. It felt like I'd fallen into a deep pit of despair, as if my whole world had collapsed. She explained that before meeting me, she had a brief relationship she didn't want to disclose for fear of losing me. But now the baby was here, and she wanted to keep it and hoped I'd share the responsibility. I struggled between anger, hurt, and understanding. I wondered if I should forgive, continue, or end things to protect myself. However, my deep love made me decide to stay and face this challenge with her. It wasn't easy. My family and friends didn't understand. Many even advised me to leave, not to get caught in such a mess. The following days were filled with heavy conversations, arguments, and painful silences. I tried to be her support, but inside I was torn apart. Sometimes I pretended to be strong, but inside I was a broken man. What surprised me most was that gradually I realized love and responsibility aren't just about DNA or blood ties. I started spending time with the baby, attending prenatal visits, and felt a strange connection. Though not the biological father, I want to do everything I can to be a good man, a reliable father figure for this child. This story doesn't have a perfect ending yet, but I'm learning to accept, forgive, and love in my own way. I know there will be many challenges ahead, but at least now I'm not alone. I want to send a message to anyone going through love shocks. Give yourself the chance to heal and believe in the power of true love. Story 4. When your partner turns into darkness, living beside an abusive wife. My name is Nam, 32 years old, and the story I'm about to share is about the years I spent in a marriage I once believed was happy until everything turned dark and painful. My wife and I met in college, fell deeply in love, and decided to get married after 5 years together. At first, she was gentle, caring, always a solid emotional support for me. But after the birth of our first child, things began to change. She became stressed, easily irritated, and sometimes erupted into inexplicable fits of rage. I thought it was just the pressure of new parenthood and young marriage, so I tried to be understanding and patient. However, that anger gradually turned terrifying. One time while I was helping her hold the baby, I accidentally made the baby cry because I was tired, and suddenly she screamed and threw a heavy cardboard box at my head. The unexpected blow stunned me. My head spun and I collapsed to the floor. I never imagined the person I loved could do that to me. After I regained consciousness, I was taken to the hospital for a head injury and had to take a week off work to recover. I was very sad and disappointed, but still hoped it was just a momentary mistake. However, the subsequent acts of violence weren't limited to physical blows. They came with verbal insults, harsh words, and coldness within my own home. Every day I lived in anxiety and fear, never knowing when she would lose her temper and hurt me again. Family and friends advised me to leave, but I was afraid of losing my family, afraid my children would lack a father's warmth. I tried to talk, even suggested marriage counseling, but she refused and blamed me for causing her stress. I felt like I was living in hell with wounds that were not just physical, but deeply emotional. Eventually, I realized I needed to protect myself and my children, that no love is worth enduring abuse. I began seeking help from domestic violence support organizations and gradually prepared for divorce. Though painful, I know this is the right decision to bring peace and a better future for myself and my children. Through this story, I want to send a message to anyone in a similar situation. Don't hesitate to ask for help. Don't be afraid to step out of the darkness. You deserve to be loved and to live in happiness, not in fear. Story 5. Betrayed by my best friend and the sweet revenge. My name is Huang, 29 years old. My story begins with a friendship that seemed unbreakable but ended in pain and betrayal. Lan and I have known each other for over 10 years since university. We shared everything, joys and sorrows, building beautiful memories together. Lan used to be the person I trusted the most, the one I could confide in about everything, including my love life and work. But there were things I never expected. Lan had secretly been flirting with my boyfriend. I found out when I accidentally read her messages to him, sweet words, even promises. The feeling of betrayal and hurt was indescribable. I was shocked, unwilling to believe it, but the truth remained. Instead of blaming or crying, I chose to stay calm and plan a smart revenge. I didn't want to cause a scene or make a fuss, as that would hurt me more. I started collecting evidence, saving chats, emails, and messages proving the betrayal. Then I silently withdrew from both of them, keeping complete distance. Lan tried to explain and cling on, but I no longer trusted her. Afterward, I took the initiative to talk openly with my boyfriend, laying out the truth and everything I knew. I wasn't angry or accusatory, just straightforward in sharing everything. The result: my boyfriend realized his mistake and decided to end things with Lan. Lan was ostracized by friends and gradually lost all her important relationships. I was able to start healing, focusing on myself and rebuilding my life. Through this, I learned that honesty and patience are the greatest strengths, and that those who truly love you will never betray you. thank you all for patiently listening to this story, painful yet incredibly strong. Each of us experiences moments of stumbling betrayal or hurt by those we once trusted most. But what truly matters is how we get back up and keep moving forward. Huong's story is not only a testament to staying calm using reason and having patience to face adversity, but also a reminder that when others turn their backs on us, we can still rebuild our lives with the strength within ourselves. If you have ever endured pain or are going through broken relationships, I hope this story helps you see the light at the end of the tunnel. And most importantly, always cherish yourself and hold on to your dignity, because that is the most precious thing no one can take away. Please leave a comment below sharing your thoughts on the story, or if you have stories you want to tell, I'd love to hear them. Don't forget to like and share the video so more people can know these real and meaningful stories. See you all in the next videos of Reddit Echoes.